Are you a female entrepreneur who feels stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure how to move forward? The Life Coaching for Business Builders program helps you harness your inner power, build your authentic platform, and chart a clear path to business success. You don't have to do this alone. Together, we'll create strategies, structure, and accountability to help you boss up in life and business. It's time to claim your power and make your business dreams a reality. Hello and welcome to Boss Business Strategies. I am your host, Dr. Marcia Whitaker. And what we do here on Boss Business Strategies, we give you the information that's going to help you to build your business bigger and stronger. And so, as I bring on my guests, I come across a time or two some people that I want to do a special edition. I want to bring them in to share their expertise. And I always talk about that $1 million moment or that moment where what's the mindset? What's the millionaire mindset behind what it is that we are doing? And so today I have none other than Pastor Dr. Prophet Anthony D. Shannon. Right. And so I wanted just to share a little bit about him. He is the founder and the president of Leaders Live Generously and the visionary behind the Prayer Breakfast of Champions. He's known as a prophet you can trust. He's a senior pastor. He's a prophetic voice. He's an author of 7 books, certified leadership coach, entrepreneur, and philanthropist who has dedicated more than 3 decades, count them up, 3 decades to equipping leaders to live with faith, purpose, generosity, and excellence. Dr. Shannon is a 3-time recipient of the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, and he is committed his life to leadership, service, and community impact. Dr. Shannon, welcome to the show. How are you?
What up, Doe? That's a Detroit saying. If you don't know it, it's 313. That's the place to be. I put on the end. That's where God live. But that's either you know or you don't know. We say, "What up, Doe?" That's a very endearing greeting to you, Doctor Marcia Will.
Yes, and it is so fitting because that's where I met you initially. Was in Detroit. I've gotten indoctrinated into the what up dough
Yes, indeed.
philosophy. So I know what it means. I know the folks that live there, and it's a thing. It's a thing. So shout out to my peeps that are in that are
What up,
in
Detroit?
in Detroit. I love it. I love it. So welcome to the stage. Welcome to the platform. I know you are out of town at the moment. I know you got lots of things going on. And I know you've dedicated 30 years of leadership, and we're going to walk through just some of your most recent books as an author. But I wanted to kind of pull back a little bit. And as I read in your bio, you call yourself a prophet that you can trust. And as someone from that's faith-based, when you have profit,
Mhm.
you would assume that we could trust you. So can you can you talk to us about where that thought comes from and who and what you represent?
Absolutely. There are people that went and there are people that were sent. There's many that are called, but only few that are chosen. And there are people that say, "Hey, I want to be a priest." They just go to school and become a priest. But then there's people that God calls. He actually calls them into that office. And years ago in 1989, I had this very unique encounter with the Lord, and it really changed my life forever. And the thing about it, it was captured on video at the time, and I didn't know exactly what was happening. But later, I understood what was happening. It was the Lord calling me to the kingdom, and so I had to go get training. I had to go to school, and then I had to sit up under a pastor who walked me through preaching, teaching, and then they certified me, ordained me at the time as a minister, then an elder. And then I went to prophetic school, right? When I knew that I was called to be a prophetic, I went to prophetic schools. Bill Hammond trained me. We went to Bishop Jordan. I went to his school of the prophets. He trained me. John Paul Jackson trained me in interpreting dreams. So I have all of these different gifts but it took about 18 years of training and studying, doing activations, and being all of my prophetic that I would prophesy was being judged and perceived, and then what I said had to be proven if it came to pass or not. Sometimes they would blindfold me, put me in another room, and then bring a person in the room next to me, and I have to prophesy to them, whether they're a male or a female. I don't see them. I don't even know who it is, but I had to use the spirit to see exactly, and they would bring the person to see if I'm accurate or not accurate. And so after about 18 years, the Lord spoke to me of all of my trainings and certificates and told me to start this thing called prophetic nights. The prophetic night, somebody with a horse, proclaiming. And so I opened it up. And my first one, we had about 15 people to show up. Then my second one, we had about 85. The next one, about 300 people. And that's how the prophetic for me started. And so I started prophesying to people, and then every month I would say, okay, who got a prophecy for me last month? They raised their hand. Can you come up, tell me what happened? Did it happen? Did it come to pass or anything? And so we did that in over about a 10-year or an 8 to 9 year period. We would have this list. We had a list of people we prophesied to. So we prophesied to over, man, I would say about 8,000 people. So out of the 8,000 people, we had about 7,000 people who have come back over the years to give us their testimony that it happened, it worked. And so we have like a 99.9% accurate rate. We got documentation from medical doctors. We got documentation from lawyers, judges who stamp stuff that we said prior. And we always have people record it so that people don't think we made it up. And it comes to pass. Well, the reason we use the term a prophet you can trust is because of that, number one. And number two, there's many prophets who just say stuff to say stuff. We call that sensationalism. The Bible says there was 400 prophets in the Old Testament who were prophets, but they all was liars. They were deceivers. They deceived people. People like all that sensationalism. I'm not into that. I'm into realness. I could, but I don't. And so, because I wanted people to trust it, so that even my mother-in-law, when she got diagnosed with cancer, she came to me and said, "How come you're not giving me a prophetic word?" I said, "I can't just manufacture it. It has to come to me." And she said, "Well, you're a prophet. You should be able to do it." And I said, "I can't. I'm sorry. I'm praying for you. Let's pray now." So we prayed, and she kept saying, "Why won't you give me a prophetic word?" I said, "Listen, I promise you, if I give you what you want to hear and it don't happen, you're going to be mad at me." I said, "And this is too serious for me to be playing around." I said, "And I don't play anyway." So she said, "Okay." And then about maybe 3 months later, I was on a plane. I just got on the plane. So, people boarding. And so I'm in the front and they're boarding. And the Lord says to me, "Call her now." I said, "I'm on the plane. I don't care." He said, "You ain't taking off. They didn't. The people are still loading." So I called and I got my brother-in-law and I said, "Listen, I need to talk to Mom Garth." And he says, "You can't talk right now." I said, "Dude, put her on." So he put her on. I tell her what the Lord said, prophesied to her. She said, "Wait a minute. I'm about to have surgery right now." I said, "Don't have the surgery." She said, "What?" I said, "Don't
What?
have the surgery." So she tells him, he gets on the phone, "What are you doing?" Blah, blah, blah. I said, "Look, brother, would I be calling, telling you if I didn't hear something?" You know what I mean? So she does it, and they didn't recommend it, but she did it. She did everything that the prophetic word said, and she got healed. When she got healed, she told her friends, she brought three other friends to the prophetic nights when we were doing them,
Mhm.
and they all three got healed. All three of them
Wow.
were healed supernaturally from the prophetic. That's straight up truth.
Wow. Wow.
That's why we say I'm a prophet you can
You can
trust. If
trust.
we
Now,
speak it, it's gonna happen. We never
mhm,
take nothing back. Never take
mhm,
nothing back.
mhm.
Never. And that's straight up. And it's so far all of these years, the Lord has backed that up for real.
I love that. Now, the astonishing part, or multiple things. One is that I've never heard that story.
Hmm.
I've never have gotten this deep in the spiritual side of you. I mean, you've prayed for me, and we were just talking before coming on
Yeah.
the air where we were in an interview room and I interviewed, 25, 30 people and my voice left and I couldn't talk and I was, semi choking on my saliva and all that kind of stuff. And you prayed for me. And after I had done all the things, the cough drops, the spray, the time, the hot water, all the things, right? And by the time you were done praying and you actually went into prophecy in the midst of that, when you were done, I could now talk.
Yeah.
So I am a witness to what you're saying. But the thing that I want to make plain also is that you're also an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
Okay. And so I want you to share uh what do you do on the entrepreneur side, but then also how do you walk your faith walk along with your entrepreneurial um exposure.
Yeah, first of all, I'm glad you say that because I like to tell people that all the time that I am a businessman, a entrepreneur, for sure. I've trained with rabbis, Rabbi Monsieur trained me in the business arena that God had no problem with his people being successful, right? And but because I
Hmm.
grew up Baptist, and in the Baptist church, they have a problem with that, and so that's what was my mindset. But they had no problem with order and structure. Is just prosperity and all that. They were not good big on that. And so the Jewish rabbi who I trained with helped me in the business perspective to show me that in God's word, He wanted us to have business, do business, and to expand business in order to help people and add value to people. And so that's how I got into the business world. As a business owner now, but prior to that, I was in industry for 25, 30 years as a district vice president, sales manager. I was I was the president. I was a training manager. I ran hospitals, restaurants. I was general manager. I ran hospitals. I ran a whole food department for the doctors. I would bring in doctors and from all over. We would sit down, have powwows, and I would create things that would draw doctors to fill up hospital beds. And people would say, "How did you get them to do that, Anthony?" And these were all downloads, business ideals that I got from the Lord ever since I learned how to operate that in my business.
Hmm. Wow. Okay, so you have lots of experience both in the corporate as well as leadership training. um can you just share a little bit about what your business is currently and what it is that you do?
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, we have what we call the Leaders Live Generously Academy, and in the Leaders Live Generously Academy, that's where we train leaders. We train them how to have principle driven leadership, how to stand on principles, the promises, and the precepts of business. We tell them to do it by the book. And we've learned these principles from the Judaism, which we adapt a lot of their principles, a lot of principles we also adapt from Sam Chad, as well as some principles from John Maxwell. But overall, it is those folks that we teach them about leadership. We teach people how to be a leader, why you should be a leader, and if you're a mother or father, you are a leader, and so you need to know how to manage leadership skills with your children until they become adults. And then you need to shift your leadership training to deal with adult offspring. They're no longer your little babies. You got to change the mindset, how you operate with them. And there's certain conversations you need to have, which a lot of people don't have. So we teach people this, we train people in this, and how to get their teams to work together with teamwork, and how to have the same mindset of one, so that they can accomplish more than what they think they need and can accomplish.
I love that. And I can't wait to hear more as we dive into some of the books that you have penned.
Mhm.
And I think it's amazing. You talk about God giving you, I call it a download, but
Yes, indeed.
whatever you get that you're now able to give out. And so I can hear a listener saying, okay, so if you get these downloads, you should be able to, I would think that that would not only help others, but that would help you. I would say what percentage, I don't know if that's a good way, but how would you say the amount of I guess decision making or ideas that come to you, do you think they are prophetic? And how do you separate that between stuff that Anthony wants to do?
Oh yeah, there's no question. There's three voices. There's three voices a person must learn, and how and must learn to matriculate through. It's your voice, it's God's voice, and then there's the enemy. There's an enemy voice.
Mhm.
The enemy voice sounds like your voice, trick you like it's your voice, but it's not you. It's not. It's the enemy. It's tricking you. Which we call fiery darts. Even in business, people do it in business all the time. I'll give you an example. When I created my God's Gear Gospel Wear, my clothing line, I have a clothing line, believe it or not. Faith, active faith, mixed with scriptures and different things on it. I have a leather, it's a soft leather. The inside is satin, but it's very soft leather, and it's embossed leather on it. And when people see it, they love it, right? And then we have the line with scripture. So we take different scriptures. People don't even know they're scriptures because how we put it in there. What is LB? Well, it's really a scripture, and then we kind of have a little dialogue. But we did that in order to give people a choice in the business world that wanted to represent something that's quality, something that's fresh and relevant, without looking so bulky or, well, listen, man, we don't like that. I have people chasing me down. This is the truth. White, black, Hispanic, Chinese, Iranians chase me down when I have my jacket on. And I'm trying to figure out what did I do something? I turn around and they go, "Oh, I just wanted to tell you I love your jacket, man." I go, "Oh, hey, I forgot I had it on. Sorry about that." You know what I mean? But it's all inspired with downloads. As you put the download, and so when I was going to go change out of the restaurant, I didn't know where to go. So I went to pray and I said, I need you to show me what is my next. Where do I need to be at? And he said, sales. And I said, what? Sales, sales. What kind of sales? You know what I mean? There's all kind of sales. And so he directed me into sales. So I started selling furniture at this company called Art Van, and I moved up so quickly that I became $1 million sales on the floor. And so that I moved out of there and went into human resources, payroll, and benefit sales, and that's where I landed after I sold. I started with the furniture. Once I improved, then I just moved over into HR, payroll, and that was the rest of my life after that. I did
I
30
love it.
years
I love it.
in that.
I love it. Okay, so let's get some of this knowledge out. All right. So the first book I want to talk about is The Process of Change is Now.
Okay.
Tell me a little backstory and tell me why now and why not tomorrow.
Well, first of all, let's deal with that. Change, Dr. Marcia, it's not optional anymore. It's not optional anymore. People had option back in the day, but not no more. It is the requirement for survival and growth. Things have changed. I mean, anyway, information itself has an expiration date. I don't care what Dr. Miles Monroe taught me when he was training me all over all those years before he passed away, that your knowledge, your degrees, that's why I'm in school now, working on my my third degree. All right, or fourth degree, should I say, which would be my second master's. So I'm in because I want to be up to date, right? And so information itself has an expiration date. What worked yesterday may already be outdated.
Mm-hmm.
The same way with Steve Ballmer. Steve Ballmer was the president of Nokia. Nokia phones at the time was number one, right? They
Mm-hmm.
had 90% of the market share. There was no Apple and there was no BlackBerry when Steve Ballmer and them had Nokia. BlackBerry came out and changed the game. When BlackBerry came out, they brought in you can type, on your phone, and oh
Mm-hmm.
man, people went amazing. But Nokia still had the majority of the share. When Apple came out and started duplicating what BlackBerry did, but instead of you typing it, they put it in invisible. Oh man, that changed everything. Well, Steve Ballmer and them still didn't move. They said, we're not going to move. We're, nuh-uh, you know what? We got this. Matter of fact, they were laughing it off. The very thing that would dethrone them. That's the tension of my whole book. And so 2 years later, Apple comes out with the touchscreen. You remember they put the touchscreen. And boy, people jump ship to get that phone. And in 2 years after Nokia did not move, the third year, they were selling the company because they were outdated. And in order for them to catch up, they said they would have to spend too much money. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. I heard his speech, and the people said, "What did we do wrong?" He said these words. It is a quote. He said, "We did nothing wrong. We did everything right. We just didn't move fast enough because the process of it moved too quick." I said, "That's my book. The process of change is not tomorrow, it's right now. You have change is inevitable. It has shaped every era of human history. And we're right now in the fourth industrial revolution. That's why things are topsy turvy. People don't understand it because we're in the fourth industrial. It's changing so fast. And now we're in the AI revolution, and AI is changing faster than AI. And so the nature has a dual nature. It's disruptive, but it's also progressive at
Yeah.
the same time.
Yeah. So I love it. First of all, you about to go in on that one. But so what would be a thought? Yes, we hear talking about I have to change now. What what type of change? What's your prescription for what leaders and entrepreneurs should really be doing in this season?
Well, the first thing people should be doing right now is learning everything they can about technology, everything they can about AI, because AI is not going to take your job, but a person who knows AI will. A person who understands technology and the changes of technology will. Everything now is moving quicker and faster. If you cannot produce something like that, you've already lost, right? You've already behind. So people, businesses have to now navigate and matriculate to learning these new systems right now. I tell people like this, Dr. Marcia, do we still have the rotary phones? Yes. Do they work? Yes. Are they accurate? Yes. But why don't people have them? Because they can't do a text. You can't take the phone on the train. The cord is too you'll take it out of the socket.
Look, I got a question even deeper than that is
Yes.
how many people still have a landline?
Well, see, fear of the unknown and fear of losing control, right? Drive resistance to change, and people have to change. They didn't. I remember when the ATM was out, I was selling them, and people everywhere I went, people was like, "No, I don't see myself doing that." An ATM is everywhere. You
Hmm.
can't find nowhere there's no ATM
Right.
because people are afraid of it, and cognitive bases, or should I say cognitive biases, right, quietly shape how people make decisions under pressure. So I'm telling companies, listen, companies, you have to change. You have to get in now with this digital transformation, and you got to have an initiative to make that happen with your leadership. Even the ones who are 50 and over can learn. It is never too late to learn what you need to learn in order to move into the next, or you become irrelevant.
I love it. And I've seen you out there dibbling and dabbling in the AI. I see you on out here in these streets. All right, so that's book number one. Okay. Book number two that I want to talk about is called Sacred Success.
Okay.
And hearing it, I hear the it's faith and then there is success, right? And
Mhm.
so you put them together. A lot of times we're thinking that they're separate. What are your thoughts on the combination of the two?
Well, first of all, I've heard all my life, right? Even when I was in business, people would say, "You got to be careful, man. Don't, you don't want to get too far into that." Or they would say you're going to be materialistic. And well, I found that God doesn't mind you having things or being success. He just don't want the success or the things to have you, right? And so
Mhm.
people may buy a car. They've never had a nice car, so they don't want people to get in the car. Don't eat in my car. Hey man, watch out. And they got white carpet and all. Like, why did you buy the car if you don't want me in the car? You know what I mean? Or they don't want you to drive. Don't touch that, man. You know what that is? Man, that cost me 20 grand, man. Well, then you shouldn't have bought it because now
Mhm.
the stuff has you, right? You don't have the stuff. It doesn't matter if you have a Bentley, a Rolls Royce. Hey, throw the key. You want to drive it? You want to take it around? That's the mindset we should have when we talk about sacred success, because God does not want you to succeed at the expense of your soul. Every one of us that is created, believe it or not, we were created for a purpose. We were created to do some things that's already embedded on the inside of us. Once we uncover what we were really supposed to do, that's where your prosperity is. That's where your money is. I'll give you an example. Beyonce was created to sing. So every time she sings, she makes money. She don't have to chase it. She don't have to beg nobody. It just happens. If you're a great plumber and you're one of the best, you don't have to beg nobody. You don't have to beat up nobody. You don't have to, you know, walk over nobody. People are calling you because you're the best. My buddy, he's Dr. Egan, and he's in Detroit. He's one of the first black orthodontists, okay, in the
Nice.
nation. In the
Mhm.
nation, all right? His father was one of the first. So we talking about a generation in the orthodontics that don't exist for African Americans. Now they have three because Javen, which is his nephew, is now a orthodontist, and they only take Dr. Marcia what he told me. They only take about 5 to 7 orthodontists across the nation a year. Period. Out of all these schools, they only take it 7. Period. That's how tough it is for him to do it. And guess what? They've been able to do it successfully. It's amazing, and all kind of people come in there. It's just amazing.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for sharing. So, okay, so now we're going with the trifecta. The third one is the third book is called Live Generously.
Yes.
And what I know about your platform, the breakfast of the prayer breakfast of champions,
Hmm.
your leaders live generously, your program. We've talked about generosity as the basis for success. How would you say it?
I would say generosity is a way of living. That generosity is not limited to just money. Generosity is giving your time, your wisdom, your encouragement, your building relationships that add value, causing not everybody but many people who have proven to give them access, right? Open up opportunities, knowledge, resources, even forgiveness is generosity. And then supporting people, not being jealous, but being cooperative so that you can collaborate, right? Because there's more you can do in collaboration than competition. That's generosity.
hmm I love it. Thank you so much. Um, Now I know going down this, the generosity leaders live generously. I know
Mhm.
that your prayer breakfast is coming up.
Yes.
I want you to shout it out, say when it is, where it is, how people get a hold of that event, as well as how to connect and to you and get one of these books or all three.
Yes, the Prayer Breakfast of Champions 2026, the Millionaire Flow, How to Prosper in Lean Times is what we're dealing with this year. And that's August the 28th with a meet and greet and then the press conference. And then, of course, on the 29th, we're dealing with the Prayer Breakfast speakers, singers, dancers, big giveaways. We've got some 60-inch TVs we're giving away. Last year, we gave away some of the best colognes on the market, big ones. We gave them away, just sold it in a big. They were so shocked. They left there with so many. They said, I can't believe you did that. Well, that's why we call it Leaders Live Generously.
Generously. I love it. And how do they get a hold of you?
All right, you get a hold of me by Anthony D. Shannon, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, it's Anthony D. Shannon. The Prayer Breakfast of Champions.com or ADSCG1.com. Anthony D. Shannon Consulting Group, number one.com. That's how you get in touch with me.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm gonna put the links to the books as well underneath for this interview. So a little fast fire questions if I can. What is the best piece of business advice that you have received?
Mine is have integrity. Do what you say, right? And so even when we deal with our shirts or doing stuff for people, we make them sign that this is what you want, right? And then even if there's some discrepancy, our motto is we'll never argue with you with money. Right? If you think that it's okay, even though you sign, we'll let you take it. We'll take the loss just to keep the integrity.
Mhm. So when we talk about entrepreneurship, and, it's not a bed of roses. There's ups and downs. There's periods of silence. there's there's a whole lot of zeros in certain bank accounts, right? What's one
Okay.
failure that you are grateful for?
When I was in the Marine Corps, I failed. I was the I was the platoon leader, and I didn't understand that leadership. John Maxwell says it all the time. The leader must know the way, then show the way. And I had to do a climb 50,000 feet in the air, and then get on a tightrope, and then drop down into the water and hold everything with me. And I had to do it about 5 times, and I couldn't do it. I said, I can't do it. And I realized that when I said I couldn't do it and didn't want to do it, that my whole team was looking at me. And when they told me I needed to do it, I didn't do it. I swung at the captain, and I was almost court-martialed and kicked out. And but my gunny had a talk with me and said, if you're going to be a leader, then you're going to have to show the way, and you got to be tough, and you can't quit. And so, because I failed that, that's what taught me always to do more in order to help your leaders or help those who are following you. So I always do more. If they're gonna run 3 miles, I've done six. Believe that.
Mm, all right. Final question. I want you to fill in the blank. The most successful leaders always.
Always serve from their heart.
Hmm,
Always serve from the heart. Sacred success is not simply about personal achievement, it's about using achievement to serve people. The more people you serve to help get what they want, believe me, the more you will always have what you want.
I love it. Thank you so much for being a part of this special show, special segment. And we're going to connect a little bit later. Don't go anywhere. Hey, everybody, it's Dr. Marcia. You have listened to Pastor Anthony D. Shannon, entrepreneur, servant, and pastor with a prophetic voice. Just come and share the knowledge that he has been bestowed and that he is now giving in books that you're able to purchase. So make sure you go and check him out if you're in the Detroit area, or you can get there, make it to his event that's coming up, and just follow him. And so we're signing off again. Dr. Marcia, I'm your life and business architect, and I'm the host of Boss Business Strategies, where we bring you the owners, the entrepreneurs behind the $1 million brands. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Take care.